So we heard yesterday from the government that they haven't conducted any modelling on the potential job losses that will result from this bill, despite the fact that the cuts to social and community participation are going to be in the order of $13 billion, meaning that that money will no longer be going towards employing support workers. What are your concerns about the potential workforce impacts, including job losses from these changes?
Well, I'll answer that, Jordan. And as you know, I've written you a number of emails concerning my concerns around the NDIS. In regional and remote areas where I work, it is so difficult at present to actually get people, A, to be interested to work in this sector, and B, that have the empathy, support and compassion. We need training standards that are required for any individual that works in the NDIS, particularly with high complex physical people. By making it more and more difficult for people to be attracted and retained by these organisations, we're finding a real workforce churn where 3 out of 5 disability support employees are either considering leaving the sector or are already leaving. Now, that's not an issue, that is a crisis, and it needs to be addressed swiftly and curiously, because at the end of the day, they are the people that provide the support to many, many thousands of people with a high physical disability across our country.
Thank you. And Ms Marshall, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, Tony speaks incredibly well, and 100% see it. This is, as Tony said, a workforce crisis. So we want to professionalise the disability sector. It should be a career. It should be something that people aspire to do. It should be like working in nursing or working as an allied health professional. They carry and do very similar roles, and it is integral to our health system that disability support workers remain a crucial part of our health system. To do that, that's where we think that worker registration needs to come in. These workers need to have the appropriate training, professional development, as I said, code of conduct, have that support around them that not only helps supports them but also professionalises the workforce and gives them a pathway to be able to continue their career in the disability sector for years to come. Consistency for a lot of participants is key. Having this turnover is not only hurting the workers and not knowing who they're going to be working with every day, but it's also hurting the participant. Who's showing up to help me today? The anxiety levels that they must experience can go through the roof. Having that professionalism for us is just a very simple win-win.
Absolutely. I just want to take you deeper on that too, because it was a very prominent part of our questioning of the department yesterday. So we've got $13 billion being cut from SCCP funding. That's an across-the-board 50% cut that is unilaterally implemented by the Minister. It's not limited to 50%. It can go as high as 99.9% under a future Minister or a future government. But at the moment, that's what we've got, $13 billion. Now, every single one of those dollars, as you know, goes to employing a worker directly to do their job to support the disabled person. Do you think that this kind of cut, the scale of this cut, will result in job losses?
Yeah, can I just quickly add to that, Jordan, and go and take it back a step? What I think we all forget in this situation is at the moment, people that have high complex physical medical needs are currently being supported in their own home, in SIL group homes, by really well-trained, compassionate and supported skilled staff. It'll be a double-edged sword. If these people aren't supervised and adequately provided with support within their own group homes, this will cost way more than $13 billion in job cuts. This will actually effectively end up costing states and territories and federal governments more money to their health system, because these people will be clogging up beds in aged care facilities. They will be clogging up beds in A&E because they will not have anywhere to live. Because if you keep cutting jobs in the disability sector, there won't be enough people to actually provide the support.
And Ms. Marshall, does the HSU also have a concern that these cuts will cost jobs?
Listen, can you see me? I don't know what's happened to my camera.
I can't now. I can't see you.
I'll just keep talking, and something weird happened on our end. That's okay. Listen, on the face of it, yeah, I mean, there is a concern there, and I think there needs to be more. We need more information, and we need a deeper dive into that issue on what that actually means. Because at the end of the day, people's needs do not disappear. The disability does not go away. The cost is going to remain there. People are going to need that workforce. So any sort of cuts, yeah, it's concerning, and it is concerning that those cuts turn into workforce cuts, but I can't speak with any certainty with more information.
Okay. Now, the government said in its impact analysis that, quote, while reforms are significant and will be disruptive to providers, the latent demand for disability support workers in the NDIS and growth in other parts of the care and support economy means it is not expected that the resetting, and this is the word they use to describe the $13 billion cut they're making to SCCP budgets, will create significant employment shocks or for experienced support workers. Do you believe that sounds like a fair statement?
I don't think so, because since COVID, we already the many people, I can say we already sort of staff, and since ongoing regularly staff are working overtimes and burnout, and we compromising safety as well. So so many staff has been injured at work, and this is on and off, and then when coming back, they're the injury doesn't go away, and emotionally break down staff. So if this is ongoing, at this moment, we're already struggling, and if they're gonna cut these things, I think we're gonna struggle more in the future. So, and this is not attracting the industry, because people are because of the injury and burnout things, so many responsibility talking work and all. So people are already leaving the industries. So we want to keep the people to stay in these industries longer, so we can have sustainability of we can take care of the people with vulnerable people with disability. Otherwise, it's long term. This is not gonna be good for the people, because we're gonna lose we already struggling at this moment. So I'm every single day without me having all irregular staff I'm working with.
Could I just, it's Jo, and
yes,
I just
ahead.
want to add to your question, Senator, that I don't know that the skills are necessarily as transferable as the government might think. I think that the workforce that work in, for instance, we have a lot to do with day programs, and my employer actually runs day programs, and I have staff doing that. They're sort of 9 to 3, they're doing it because they've got children, commitments with their own children, etc. Whereas I work in a cell facility that's 24 hours staffed, and I am required to do sleepovers, weekends, mornings, nights. I start at 6 a.m, I finish at 10 p.m. So I don't, just because there will be, so essentially if we look at it, if we remove all of the clients that I work with go to day programs, even though they range between 50 and 75 years old. If they're not at day programs, we will need to staff 24 hours a day the house and need to take them out to do things like shopping and daily living skills, etc. But I'm not sure that those people who are unemployed will be easily transferable to pick up those shifts, because the shifts won't be 9 till 3. The rosters will be altered to be 6 till 4, etc. So it's not as simple as I think they like to make out.
Yeah, and my concern is that a lot of this conversation is focused on, rightly, the impact on a disabled person of a 50% reduction in the support that they receive in the SCCP area. But a 50% reduction also means a 50% cut in the hours that a support worker can be funded to provide supports for. And I'm really worried that this will see people lose potentially half their paid wage overnight. Is that a concern for the union? You represent so many of these workers.
Can I just say something too, Jordan, that you're on the money there, because those CP hours, I know people think, oh, that's getting out and about and going to the community, see family, see your friends. But those CP hours are also used for allied health appointments, for people to go and see doctors, GPs, because we just can't, the supports of a SIL group home, there's certain periods of hours through those hours that we provide support that we don't actually have the capacity to provide the opportunity for people to meet, to go and see specialists, to travel to see specialists, because we look after a cohort of people who have ageing and high complex needs. So those support levels that are taken out, if those funding hours are taken away from a person, that is just going to cause more and more pressure upon the SIL providers to be able to provide that support, given that staff ratios in high complex homes where I work, we have 3 to 4 for participants with high physical needs, with epilepsy, with swallowing issues, with high dysplasia, all those sort of things, where we need to be supervising these people 24/7. We take that funding away and take those staff away who mightn't have a job. How do we then provide that support when we don't have the funding to do it and we don't have the time or constraints? That's the biggest issue. And just before, and Senators and Chair, thank you from me for attending today, but I just wanted to make one thing very clear, and I know Kate from the HSU and HSU have actually been really supporting this methodology, is why aren't people like myself who are house supervisors, people like Joe and people or the other representatives, why aren't we being consulted around these changes? Because we are the people that provide the support. We are the most important cog in this whole NDIS. If we don't get it right, the NDIS don't get it right.
Thank you. And just a final question. I mean, your submission went into great detail and your testimony here today has been really informative. You say in your conclusion, quote, "We urge the committee to reject the current trajectory of unchecked ministerial power and clinical narrowing." With these concerns that you've shared in your submission and in your evidence today, we as a committee have got to take it on and decide whether we make a recommendation as to whether the bill should pass in its current form. Do you, as the union, believe that the bill should pass in its current form?
No, torpedo it, Jordan, torpedo it.
Sorry, Senator, my camera's decided to pack up, but no, we don't want the bill abandoned, but it needs to be improved. There are significant gaps that our submissions and what we spoke about today, particularly around the workforce, is huge. So no, the short answer to that question is no, not in its current form. It makes some good steps. It's a good start, but there's some improvements that can be made.
All right.
Yeah, I agree with that one, because this is like even like regular day by day we're just doing unfunded work, support the client and all. Like sometimes we don't doing the work for the client, but we don't get paid for it. So sometimes we have to do incident report or all sort of stuff taking client medication, drop off, pick it up. We sometimes working unfunded hours. So just to because when you're working with the vulnerable people, you're just doing it as in your own family, basically.
Okay, and Mr. Dunn, you said something in there, but it got a bit crossed with Miss Marshall's audio. Do you want to repeat?
Yeah, as I said, Jordan, I just think what we need to make sure is that we don't have unintended consequences on the people we look after. At the end of the day, I know politicians of all shapes and sizes and of all different persuasions have to make decisions around budgetary constraints for the country, but at the end of the day, we are making decisions for people that are highly vulnerable, they're complex, a lot of them are non-verbal, a lot of them don't have any family supports or advocacy, and at the end of the day, I'm really strongest of opinion who gives a politician the right to make a decision on a person who does not have any advocacy whatsoever, has no ability to be able to consult other than the people that look after them? And I still said, as I said before, the most important cog in this whole NDIS is the support workforce. And I couldn't be more strong and focused about that.
Thank you.